Hey guys, good morning. I wanted to record a message for this week, and it's titled Neuroscience Explains How Magnificent You Are and How Manifestation Actually Works. And I think you really like this, guys. I was listening to a lecture at MIT's School of Business, the Sloan School of Business, of this neuroscientist, and Dr. Swart. And she teaches like I said, at the Sloan School of Business. And so she teaches billionaire hedge fund managers and the financial sector, Wall Street executives, business success, business coaching to the millionaires and billionaires in the country. And I think you'll find some things really familiar. And I related a lot to it because I love the science behind it. And as I go through this, she actually says, when you understand the science behind how magnificent you're designed, you're not going at this by blind faith or the scriptures clearly say or anything like that. You actually know how it works, and it gives you confidence that, oh my gosh, I truly can have all the desires in my life, no matter how bleak or how bad it looks like, guys, is we're magnificently designed. And so anyway, I'll probably record another message too, just about there's things that make me laugh. And oh, by the way, obviously our internet's up and running again. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys at fellowships on Sunday at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Mountain, which is noon, and 8 p.m. Eastern. And just go to freedomministries.live, and the password's freedom. And unless we're traveling, or like last week, we have satellite internet and it was out, we get together at those times live, where that's the best time where people can experience God, or, true prayer. And we'll cover some of that. And so I'm going to include my notes in the email and on Facebook, just so you have them. And you don't have to go get the book or anything like that. I just enjoy this stuff. I've always believed and been fascinated by the scriptures. We're talking about how magnificent you are. They were never talking about anything wrong. And anyway, I was reading in Happiness is Free. And this is so great. I'll probably do another service about all the things that are not true about you, which is sin and disobedience and unholiness and demons and Satan and the devil. The only people who believe in any of that stuff are the people who have been taught it, guys. Is you were magnificently designed, and all those other ideas came in from the interpretations of what the scripture says. Anyway, this is great. It's I was reading this, and it says, "Be what you are!" exclamation point. You're infinite, you're omniscient, you're omnipotent, right here and now. Be that. Stop being this limited, miserable little ego. And when it makes me laugh like that, I know it's spot on, because it's so true. And all those concepts of sin, unholy, God's mad at you because you followed, or you didn't obey and you missed some rule. The top business schools, the neuroscientists go, that actually makes you miserable and little, and you don't receive anything. Now, why would God design it like that? He wouldn't, which shows you that it's a misinterpretation. And so anyway, you have the potential to receive anything you desire. And so I'm just going to show you, a lot of this will sound very familiar, but I love this because it's from a neuroscience perspective. And I'm just going to show you my notes, and I'll attach these because I think these are really great. And then we'll talk about what she recommends, and we'll still talk about love yourself next week, I think, because we missed a week with what's going on. And if you haven't watched it, I'd encourage you to watch the 2 messages I did on war. And God's not a God of war. Totally misinterpretation, mistranslation again, guys. Is if it's so hellish, why would he be involved in it? We all know that intuitively, yet somehow our scriptures, we think there's this God of war, and the end is going to be this battle. No. The end is the consummation of love, guys. The end is every one of you can look forward to. Everything's going to be okay because you feed on the last love covenant, which is eternal life. Every single one. Those are all the warring scriptures and the great array of battle. It's you having intimacy with God coming together in this beautiful array. So anyway, let me show you this. Neuroscience explains how magnificent you are, how manifestation works. Let me just share my screen, and I'll kind of talk through this. And I think this is so great because it's all the things we've been saying, yet she's, at one of the top business schools in the world. And the people she coaches probably run your 401ks and your pension funds and retirement funds. And guess what they teach? They teach you're magnificent. They teach get a hold of your emotions and your mind, and it'll create anything you visualize. Fascinating, huh? So anyway, like I said, she teaches at MIT School of Business, and she teaches the billionaire hedge fund managers, the financial sector. Like I said, probably run a lot of your retirement programs if you have IRAs or 401ks. And so she talked about how in every millisecond, so that's a 1/1,000,000th of a second, guys. We can't even comprehend how beautifully designed you are. Our brains, 86 billion neurons, and they don't know exactly, guys, but the point is it's magnificent. It's ridiculous. Could be a trillion, who knows? 86 billion is such a big number. We have 86 billion neurons, which are our brain cells, interpreting and responding to sensory feedback. Now, what I love about this, she combines science and spirituality in a way that's open-minded and practical to fully engage your deepest needs and desires to make life happen for you, not to you. I'm taking notes from what I was watching with her. And so she explains neuroscience and neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity just means you can build new neural networks and experience different things in your life, and how manifestation works. It's got a lot of bad names, and people, oh, that's not true. And unfortunately, a lot of the Christian communities like, oh, that sounds new age, etc., and push against it. And it's really how prayer actually works. You would think after beating their head on the wall for so long, they might want their prayer to work versus not work, but that's a whole nother talk. And so anyway, this is what I love. Is she said cognitive science, or how your thoughts and what you think about can explain how your brain actually brought about your goal. We call that, some people call it manifestation. That's one of the things. I think almost every Christian has a dream, a goal. So call it manifestation, call it your goal, whatever you want, is highly empowering. She's saying the fact that science can explain it is exciting, which is what I've always said. So you don't need blind faith. When you actually know how it works in the brain and your nervous system, I would add, it gives you confidence you can actually manifest your goal and do it. So, like I said, she's coaching the billionaire hedge fund managers, financial sector. This is her audience. So this is really key. In most people's minds, there's a battle going on between two perspectives: abundance and lack. Now, here's the this is really big. And if you look at what you believe, a lot of the Western theology you were brought up with, it's all fear-based. If you don't love God and accept him into your heart, then this. It's all fear-based, guys. And so when you're in fear, which is also lack, they're on the same emotional scale, you're on guard. You don't feel worthy. You don't feel like you have everything. And you actually release this stress hormone called cortisol. And you naturally get closed, and you don't feel worthy to receive. Guilt, shame. This is where the concept of sin, guilt, all those things that scripture actually talks about the exact opposite. Those are all 4th century misinterpretations, guys. It talks about the exact opposite. And then Christians wonder why they can't pray and things work. And how come these guys over here, they're not doing anything right. They're not even living a godly life. They're not making God proud of them, and everything seems to work in their life because they have good programs running. So that's the magnificence you are. And so anyway, when you're in fear, or there's not enough, this isn't going to work out, what if this happens, and you think those over, and you see those over and over and over in your mind, you actually cause neural pathways. And it gets really embedded in you deep down, where, as Dispenza would say, your body has become the mind. You're so used to feeling those fear feelings and those anxious feelings because your body is constantly producing those hormones. Then all of a sudden you go, oh my God, I feel this way again. I feel like I'm in fear. I feel like I have to fight the devil. I fear like this is going to happen. I feel like what if the economy is this way? What if the interest rates are this? You actually create those neural pathways, and that becomes your new normal. And you become subconscious. You don't even know about it. It's just, you become so used to it, you're no longer conscious that that's actually what you're thinking and feeling. It just becomes normal. Now, the attitude that there's an abundance, love, enough for everything, and everything's going to be okay, you actually produce the opposite hormone called oxytocin. It's called the love hormone because it's warm, it's trusting. And what's interesting is you let your guard down, guys. You become open, you become trusting. You naturally feel like you can receive all the best in life and everything's going to be okay. So those are the competing things going on in most people. Now, I found this was interesting. She said this because the neuroscientists at these elite, the people that understand actually your biology and how magnificent you are, she says this is why every neuroscientist she knows does not watch or read the news. She goes, doesn't matter if it's Fox, CNN, whatever, because if you constantly feed on negative, you create those neural pathways and you're much more open to negative. She actually says that. When you repeatedly consume bad news, you're very open to that. That becomes your expectation, and you actually things stop working. Now, sadly, if you read your Bible in English, it's the same experience, guys. Is if all the people that thinking that there's great end war because the Bible clearly says, or there's going to be this land battle in the Middle East, which almost 99% of the Christians I know believe that because they read the misinterpretation of their book. It's almost like reading the news every night. You wonder why things aren't working in your life. It's if you read the Bible in English, it's almost like feeding on negative news every night. It really is. It's the exact opposite of what the scriptures actually say, which is why I'm trying to heal your book. But anyway, she says every neuroscientist she knows does not watch or read the news, and she says they carefully monitor and guard their social media feeds. They only allow good things to come in because they know how powerful your mind and brain are. This is her. She says every neuroscientist she knows does not consume the news or read news. She says, because if you continue to relive those negative experiences, they deeply embed the wiring in your brain. It becomes subconscious. You're on autopilot. You naturally think and feel negative from the time you get up, the time you go to bed. And so anyway, she writes, the true power of the brain lies in being able to integrate what we think with how we feel. This is huge, guys. This is huge. This is the heart-mind connection. If you read Heart Math, this is what the scientists call coherence. And so most people, we're going to get into this a little bit, they're trying to visualize, which is powerful, guys. But if you're trying to visualize without dealing with the negative emotion first, it's almost impossible. It's going to leave you frustrated. And so we'll deal with the easiest way to do this here in a minute. So she wrote this as she's kind of addressing the negative about manifestation. And she says, I want to consider what the law of attraction enthusiasts call the intention point. They define this as the meeting place between the heart and mind. We could call that coherence, meaning your heart and mind are functioning the same. There's no disagreement between what you're visualizing and what you're feeling. And by the way, she goes, if you've convinced yourself of right brain, left brain, she goes, that's a complete myth from neuroscience. But you can use that as a limiting experience if you want. But why? Why would you limit yourself and say, I'm not this? As he says here, stop being the miserable. What did he say? Be what you are. You're infinite, omniscient, omnipotent, right here and now. You're not left brain, right brain. I'm adding that. You're not less. You're not, this is hard. Life is hard. Be that. Stop being this limited, miserable little ego. Stop telling yourself the wrong thing about yourself is what he's saying here. Anyway, I love this part. Science shows us there's more than just blind faith in this notion. When we set a goal, you could call that the intention point. You combine your heart and mind. We could call it coherence. What actually happens scientifically, now remember, this is a top neuroscience in one of the MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the equivalent of Ivy League, Harvard, whatever you think of, guys. What actually happens scientifically is that our intuition, our deepest emotions, and our rational thinking line up. They're not fighting each other, and they work in harmony rather than conflict. Here's a huge point. It's almost impossible to reach your goal. We could say it like this. It's almost impossible for you to receive in prayer when those are out of sync. So if you're trying to visualize, if you get in your warrior war, it's also called your prayer group together, your spiritual warriors, is about the worst you could go, because they're constantly in tension, and everything works when your heart is in peace and harmony. That's when everything flows and prayer is answered supernaturally, guys. You become supernatural when you're not spiritual warfaring. Or in Jesus' name. No, that doesn't work. It's a wrong translation again. It's the nature of Jesus, if you really want to get into it, but that's a whole nother talk. The finished work of intimacy. So anyway, So she says, emotions, mastering your feelings. When dealing with people, this quotes Dale Carnegie, when dealing with people, let us remember we're not dealing with creatures of logic, we're dealing with creatures of emotion. And that's everybody. That's the guys that tell you, I'm not very emotional. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. So we're starting here because emotional mastery is the single most important of all the pathways to work on. All right, did you get that? Dealing with your emotions is the most important pathway to work on. And then she says, most people do the opposite. They try suppress emotions. That's why I said a lot of this is going to sound very familiar and should be encouraging. They suppress emotions and they overthink everything. Guys, the whole goal is to turn your brain and mind off and only use it as a gift to create exactly what you want. It's not there to try solve problems. Every true idea that solves a problem comes from the inside, guys. And then you become aware of it, but it wasn't your brain doing it. It was the spirit in you. She calls the source. You could call it the spirit in you, the power of God, the essence of all things. Everybody talks about the same thing. So most people do the opposite. They suppress emotions and overthink everything. And so that's not how it works, guys. Mastering emotions is our only hope of fully unleashing the source. Like I said, you could call that the spirit of God. Or you could go, here's what I would say. Is it worth learning how to let go of every uncomfortable emotion so that you could truly have every desire you want? I think it's worth it, guys. So she says, this is your only hope to really experience God or the spirit of God. It's no good. This is her. It's no good trying to think your way out of your emotions intellectually. All right. So we need to make sure our deepest emotions line up with our goal or what you're praying for. If you just try to visualize without dealing with the emotion, as Dr. Schwartz shares above, it's almost impossible. And this is what most of the emails I get. I'm not working. I'm trying to have faith, but it's just so hard. You got to deal with that. It feels hard and it's not working emotion. You got to let that thing come out of you because that's not who you are. You're omniscient. You're an infinite. You're the unlimited power of God. You've just got hardwiring of beliefs that you've picked up probably since you were 2. And that's become so normal to you, you can't even picture something else. But what's fascinating is you can get rid of that very quickly, guys. It doesn't take forever. So, and I just wrote, as we know, the easiest way to deal with subconscious fears, doubts, all those hardwirings where it feels hard or life is hard or you're worried about things that might happen. You're constantly living exactly what you don't want. So the easiest way to deal with subconscious fears, doubts, beliefs is to deal with the feelings and emotions. How do you do that? You can go through Rhonda Byrne's The Greatest Secret, chapter 7 and 8, or Love Yourself. The whole book's fantastic. My whole goal, guys, is I've explored all kinds of prayer, all kinds of modalities. My whole goal is to help people live out of their magnificence and experience God. The easiest and the fastest ways I've found are those 2 sources I just mentioned. And so, because it's all dealing with how you don't have to become an expert. You don't even have to understand a lot of what I'm saying here. Does it feel bad? Yep. All right. That's not you. That's just a belief you've picked up. The true essence of you, the true perfection of you is abundance. It's divine. It's God itself. That's your true nature. It's the spirit within you. This body is not you. It's going to go away. That brain in you, that mind is not you. It's going to go away. What's the real you? The spirit of God that'll dwell forever and ever. It's the spirit. That's where we get our life. So if it feels negative, instead of suppressing it or trying to overthink it, allow it to come up. And she actually talks about becoming aware of your feelings, meaning, hey, am I that feeling, or I'm just the one that I'm aware that I'm experiencing feeling anxious right now? I'm aware that I'm feeling grief. I'm aware that I'm feeling something negative. I'm aware that I'm experiencing lack. But the true me is 100% abundance in everything and perfection. So you become aware of that. And so when you don't try to suppress it and just go, I'm going to say yes to that uncomfortable feeling in it. It's okay for it to be there. And just allow it to come up. And if you listen to Larry Crane or Rhonda Byrne in these books, like I said, they have the best language and the easiest ways for you to experience true prayer and experience God. They may not be Christian authors. I think they actually both are, but they're using different language, but it's the best. Do you want to use a misinterpretation that doesn't work, or do you want your life to really work? That's what I'm after. And so when you just go, it's okay for me to feel that uncomfortable feeling a minute, it literally lessens and dissolves out of you, and you feel better within 60 seconds. You really do, guys. Just say yes to that. It's okay for me to feel that feeling a minute. And you experience it in your chest and your heart area. It's okay. And if you listen to Larry, he goes, could you do it a little bit more? And just let it come up a little bit more and dissolve out of you, and a little bit more. And just let a little more come out of you. And you feel better. What's really cool, guys, is because what it does is the end of thinking about something over and over and over becomes a belief. And with the belief, there's an emotion attached to it. So as she said, when you, in that every millisecond, one, there's lots of zeros. There's 86 billion neurons firing at the same time, processing that. That's become your normal. What's cool is when you allow that to come up, that negative emotion, it takes with it thousands and thousands and years of wrong beliefs and thinking with it. That's pretty cool. So it doesn't take you forever to get rid of it. I'm 60 years and I've been this way. Yeah, but in the next 60 seconds, you can be exactly how you want it to be. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So when you allow all those thousands and thousands of thoughts and beliefs you've accumulated over the years, what's left is the limitless ability in the Spirit of God. And when there's nothing but the Spirit of God, which is unlimited, it's the omnipotence of God. It's, all these authors talk about, it's the atomic power of God that nothing can stop. A simple thought, once there's nothing holding you back, all those limiting thoughts and emotions that have been there, as they explain through neuroscience, everything feels okay. And then a simple thought, like it would be great to experience this, it all of a sudden shows up in your life. It really becomes this simple prayer and experience everything of God. All right, I think you get that. So she just emphasizes again abundance versus lack, because those are the two competing things in most people's hearts and minds. The idea of tapping into the abundant universe is the core of the law of attraction. Abundance correlates with positive thinking and generosity. That's why I'm always saying people that love naturally give. I don't have to ask for people to give. They give. We give out of generosity because we know there's more than enough. And with the essential belief that there's enough out there for everyone. Now, wouldn't that be amazing? All wars would go away, guys. If we knew how you truly are, we got rid of all this concepts of you're not worthy, you're disobedient, you're unholy, and all you had was love and wholeness, which is exactly what the International Peace Project has figured out. When you experience peace in your own heart, you actually bring peace to millions of others just by what's coming out of you, the atomic power of God coming out of your peace. And she goes, on the other hand, when we think from perspective of lack, which is fear, our primary motivation is fear. We think in negatives, and we are highly attuned to what we don't have and what won't work. A lot of your emails, you become an expert on why this won't work for you. And so here's her challenge, which I love. She talks about it a little differently, but I think you'll find it's very much the same, guys, and it should be exciting for you that you can have even your deepest desires. So here was her challenge. For a day, a weekend, hey, how about a week? Some of you guys are like, I've been alive for 60 years. How about just try this for a day? When you first wake up and you go to bed, that's when you're the most suggestive. It's the fastest and the least amount of effort it takes to rewire yourself. So everything starts working in your life. She goes, give gratitude, which is the same as love. Now, I put this in quotes. I about fell out of my chair when I heard it because it's the first, if you've listened to me on fellowships, I do this in the morning at night. She does the same thing, and I've never heard anybody else talk like this. So, because it's simple, you don't have to become an expert. She's like, just experience gratitude, which is the same emotion of love when you wake up. It feels so awesome. So she goes, when I first wake up and I go to bed, I go, I love my bed. I love my pillow. I love the fact that I'm in a warm, comfortable bed. She goes, you actually just switch on the love hormone and you freely receive everything when you're in gratitude because it releases that oxytocin. And when you do that, you're not guarded. You're not resisting receiving your answers to prayer, and everything freely flows into your life. I got so happy. I'm like, see, it does not have to be hard, because I love that. For me, I do it every night when I wake up, and you could do whatever you're thankful for. I love my cats. I love my kids. I love my wife. I love my country. I love whatever. Get into the habit of gratitude, because gratitude's fast. because it's the same emotion as love at the end of the day. And when you release love, which is the unlimited power of God, what can stop the power of God? You'll start to see changes within 24 hours, guys, when you start getting grateful for something. And so she goes, try this for a day, try this for a few days, try this for a week, get into the habit of gratitude and tell yourself everything's going to be okay and everything is going to work out better than expected. And throughout the day, when you think of something that brings up a negative emotion, go, wait a minute. Every time I let go of that and I become aware of it, and I let go of that fear, you get closer and closer to the unlimited power of God that you really are. Everything starts to work, guys. Just let go of all those old hardwirings and you become pretty positive. You actually create new neural pathways, and that becomes your new normal, where you become an eternal optimist, where everything just seems to work. Wouldn't that be good? So she says the other thing is to do this, create a vision board. And she said you can do it electronically. You can cut out pictures. Now, again, you've all heard this stuff, but I think it should be empowering that. This is what she's teaching to billionaire hedge fund managers at MIT Sloan School of Business, guys. From a neuroscience perspective, she goes, you can try everything in the world, but if you don't get a hold of this, it doesn't work very well. So she goes, create a vision board, or you can create a list. If you've convinced yourself you're not visual, you are. Because when you read something, if you read the words white, WHITE, cup, CUP, of coffee, you don't see those letters. You go, white cup of coffee, your brain immediately thinks in pictures. So every one of you visualize perfectly. So stop the nonsense that you can't visualize or you're not good at it. Your right brain, left brain. You're the whole brain. You're the omnipotence. You're the all. You're the unlimited power of God is what you are. So she goes, create a vision board that has images of what your life is going to be like. And then she goes, get in touch with how that would feel. What would that life feel like? And so anyway, she goes, what happens is there's very little difference cognitively in your neural system, that if you're experiencing it in real life or you're just imagining it, it has the same function. It starts to rewire as if it's already real. And she goes, give gratitude that it's already come true. Gratitude is the opposite of fear emotion, as we said. Fear produces cortisol, and you naturally tense up, and you don't feel like you're worthy to receive. Whereas when you get into gratitude, I love my pillow. I love the fact that that I'm alive today. In fact, I was just listening to this interview. It was really fascinating. It was actually Gene Simmons of KISS. I was talking to my friend Marcus. They're having their last tour now. Who knows? 2 years from now, they might have another one. But I found this was interesting. Gene Simmons says he was born in Israel, and his mother actually was in the concentration camps and survived, obviously. And she says this is his name is life in Hebrew, Chaim, which I think is really cool. She said, a good day above the ground is a great day. Always be grateful. And that's fascinating, because she would never not be grateful, even though everything she would think happened to her, etc. Because always be grateful. Anyway, why? Because it releases oxytocin, and then everything good starts to flow in your life, versus fear. I'm upset about this. I'm upset about this country. I'm upset about this political party. I'm upset about this, what's going on in Israel. I'm excited about this. Guys, it's hurting you, and it doesn't help the situation one iota. The yod. It actually causes the yod. It actually causes the finished work in you of what you don't want, and creates more of what you don't want. So anyway, when you get into gratitude, it's love, it's gratitude, it's trust, it's joy. You release that oxytocin, like I said, and you naturally feel open and you can receive. This is the neuroscience behind how manifestation works, is what she's talking about. You feel open, you lower your guard, and you feel like you're worthy to receive. So if you want something in your life, your greatest desire, just go, it feels so wonderful, I have X, or it feels so grateful and peaceful that I have X. Now see what feelings come up. When you look at that vision board, or you have your list, see what comes up. And if there's anything, like she said, the most important thing is to line up your heart and mind. So if there's any emotion like this isn't true, I'm trying to fake it till I make it, I'm trying to do all these things, instead of going, oh, I suck at this, I'm so bad, I don't have enough faith, why is this not working, crying out to God in desperation. No. Allow that uncomfortable. They're easy to feel because they don't feel good. Just say yes to that feeling a minute. It's okay for that feeling to be there a minute, because I know if I don't push against it, if I'm in love and gratitude, I'm grateful that this feeling's there so it can relieve. I'm so grateful I'm experiencing that feeling a minute, because it's designed so it can come up out of me and let go. It lessens within 60 seconds, guys. Just feel that feeling in your heart and chest area. I'm so grateful for it to be here. I just allow it to dissolve out of my body. I just say yes to this feeling. It leaves, guys. Again, this is a neuroscientist teaching this at the top business school in the country, or one of top 5 for sure. Instead of suppressing those feelings, you're trying to have enough faith or spiritual warfare, or get your worry group together called your prayer group. Say yes to those feelings. Open up your chest area, let them dissolve. And then just do it again. Let yourself see that your vision board. Let yourself see those pictures, or read your list quietly to yourself again. Allow any uncomfortable feelings to go until it feels closer and closer. Your heart and mind are not in conflict anymore. So the emotion is starting to match what you're trying to visualize. Like I said, most of you guys are just trying to visualize without dealing with the emotion. From the neuroscientist, she said the emotion is the number one thing you need to deal with. That's the number one thing you don't deal with. My wife and I, we say this: no freaking out. Don't send us an email or call us freaking out. You get more of what you don't want. You go to the last of the prayer list. Why? Because I want to show you there's no time and there's nothing to worry about. Okay. So give yourself some gratitude. I feel so grateful and peaceful that I have X. It feels so wonderful. I'm at such a peace that I have more than enough in every area of my life with ease. If there's something that pushes back on that, I'm so grateful that feeling came up. I'm going to feel it in your heart and chest area. I'm going to allow that to just be there and say yes to it, and just let it dissolve out of me naturally. It's okay for that feeling to be there. I just say yes to it, and I just let it dissolve out of me. Everything's going to be okay. I feel so grateful and peaceful that everything turned out better than I expected. Try feel that feeling. If there's anything pushes back, be aware of that feeling. Allow it to be there. Let it go. I feel so grateful and bad typing there. I feel so grateful and peaceful that my body and mind are running perfectly with ease. That's how it works, guys. It's pretty cool. So I'll just finish on this again. You actually build new neural pathways in your brain experience as if it's already happened. As she says, I love this because you don't need blind faith. Or if you have this idea of like, oh, manifestation, that's not true. It's never worked for me. Christians are the ones that push back the hardest on this stuff. Oh, I tried all that. It doesn't work. Yeah, you become a master on what doesn't work. That's what actually she said. You combine science and spirituality in a way that's open-minded and practical to fully engage with your deepest desires and make life happen for you, not to you. There's a quote: neuroscience and neuroplasticity explain how manifestation works. When cognitive science can explain how your brain actually brought about your goal, we call it manifestation, is highly empowering. So you don't need blind faith. She's going, this is how magnificent you're designed. This is who you are. And when you actually know how it works in the brain, it gives you confidence you can actually manifest your goal and do it. You can have everything, guys. And I'm just trying to show you the best ways for you to experience God and have your deepest desires, no matter how bleak it looks, it works. So hope that helps, guys. God bless you.